Hello, everyone. It has been a long time since I made a video. I don't know, I guess like a month or two maybe. But I have had some crazy things going on that I wanted to share with you guys. Not crazy in a bad way, but crazy like, what a coincidence kind of way. But first of all, before I get into that, I want to tell you guys, I just saw the movie Midsommar. And if you guys were interested in going to see it or wanted to know what it was about, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but whatever you might have read about it being freaky or disturbing or a psychological thriller, it is exactly that. The only movie I've seen that I can compare this to would be that old movie, Cannibal Holocaust, and the amount of goriness and just and like ritualistic stuff that goes on in this movie. That's the only thing I can compare it to. That's how crazy it is. And this kind of movie, I didn't know how long it was either. My showing was at 12:15. I didn't get out of this theater till like 3 o'clock. And so it was a very slow burn of a movie. But when stuff did happen in this film, it was like outrageous kind of stuff. And it does not leave anything to the imagination. There's a lot of blood and guts and sex, and it's crazy. So if you guys were thinking about going to see Midsommar, it is definitely not something for someone who maybe is overly emotional or someone who has a weak stomach. It's a pretty intense film. But if you very much like psychological thrillers and want a good like mind fuck, this is the movie for you. Go see Midsommar. Well, now that I've talked about that, I just wanted to say that I've mentioned in some of my last videos, I can't remember exactly what all I've said, but I'm kind of over Christianity. As an adult, it's just not something I see myself doing anymore. And I know that may be upsetting to my friends and family, especially since I was raised in the Baptist church and I was baptized. It's just all I've ever known. But as an adult, it doesn't make sense for me anymore. And I say that because with Christianity and believing in God, there's a lot of stuff that for me, I don't want to say it felt like a cult, but it kind of felt like a cult. And not that to say that Christianity is bad and awful and cult-like, which is not, but in these past few years, I haven't felt like I was getting out of it what I was putting into it. No pun intended. That's what she said. But with Christianity, it's a lot of, obviously a lot of selflessness where you go out and you make disciples of all nations, and it's about bringing more people to Christ and sharing the love of Christ with others, that Jesus died on the cross, that God loves us, he wants us to go to heaven and be with him, and which is all fine and dandy. But for me, where I get hung up as an adult is all the bad that takes place in this world, all the frustration. For God to be this loving God that can do anything, God can move mountains in your life, but when it comes to the bad stuff, you pray. Look at Oscar. Oscar! What you doing? Woo! I threw a stress ball at him. You pray, and you may not feel like all your problems are solved when you pray, but God is going to see you through it and pull you through it, and you're going to get through this and come out better. And there are certain things, or a lesson. What is that saying? It's either a lesson or a blessing kind of thing. Well, for me as an adult, it's not fair. It's simply not fair. Christianity, as wonderful as it is, it's not fair. There's nothing else in life where you put in hard work and get nothing in return, whether it be at a job or whether it be like in your personal life. If I'm at work and I'm putting in work, no matter what I do, I'm going to get a paycheck. If I'm exercising and eating right, hopefully I should lose weight. Or if not, I go to the doctor and find out, okay, well, maybe it's this. Let's get you on some medicine to help you lose weight and get in shape, kind of thing. If you're in a bad relationship and it's not working out, you go to couples therapy, you try and figure it out to get back to the good and get back to what you know is fair and right and true. It's not like that in Christianity, where something bad may happen and you just pray and hope it gets better. But if it doesn't, that's just the way it is. And maybe God has a plan for everything. And for me, that just is not vibing with me anymore. Call me selfish, which I probably am, but that way of living isn't conducive to who I am as a person. In the past 2 or 3 years, I've had maybe like 2 or 3 panic attacks, or anxiety attacks, I guess you could say. And I don't like that feeling. And I have a lot of discomfort within myself that I'm waiting around for God to help me figure it out, and I'm trying to do the best I can do, but I still feel sad on the inside. I still feel lost, and I don't like that feeling. Even going to church, I didn't like that feeling. And as a lot of you may or may not know, I think I've mentioned it in previous videos that my husband, Robert, and I have been trying to have a kid, and it's just been difficult. And we have him set up for doctor's appointments and everything like that. And it just feels like I've been going to church since I was a kid, and I've done my very hardest to live a life that is true and right and pleasing to God. And at the end of the day, I do all these things, and the one thing I want, I don't get anything in return. And I know a lot of people will say, and I've heard it before, well, stop focusing on that. You have a home, you have a husband, you have a job, you have everything you need. God gave you all those other blessings. And which they're not wrong. That's true. I am blessed with many things. But if that's the case, then what's one more blessing? Why is it the one thing in my life I want a child has been the most difficult thing for me? And people say, well, the next thing out of their mouth is, well, maybe God is testing you. It's all part of your testimony and what you're going to go through. But why? I'm already a good, loving, caring person who's a God-fearing woman. Why? Why do I have to go through hardship? And for me, it's just, as much as I would pray and ask for comfort, I never felt comfort in this. I've never felt that, oh, it's going to work out. God's going to make it better. And so over these past couple months and couple years, like, I've just had more questions than answers. And so for me, I'm seeking answers elsewhere. And when I say answers, I don't mean like I'm trying to find some other like big magical God to like answer all my questions. Like, why is this happening to me? For me, it's not about a God anymore. It's about just getting through life. The answers I'm seeking are the answers to how do I find peace of mind through this craziness? Because praying and believing in God and Jesus isn't giving me peace of mind anymore. It's just not. So I have been very much looking into Buddhism. I bought this book today, and for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been searching Buddhism on the internet. I've been looking up on the Google everything I can about Buddhism. I've been watching some videos here on YouTube about Buddhism. And at first I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't sure, maybe this isn't right for me. Maybe I should do this, study this, but along with Christianity. But it just doesn't feel right to do that. Like, I don't think I can continue on calling myself a Christian and a believer in God when that's just not what I feel anymore. And it's kind of like a really bad breakup where me and God, me and Christianity, we've been like this. Me, God, and Jesus, we've been like this since I was like a kid. Since fourth grade, I started going to church. We've been like this. And so in a way, I get these feelings from time to time where I'm like, huh, I miss church. I do. And I miss, worship music and things like that. But it's just like going through a breakup. I feel like I'm going to miss it, but it's not working for me anymore. Like, it's not you, God, it's me, which I really feel like it's not Christianity, it's not God, it's me. And for me, Christianity is just not it anymore. And I've been looking a lot into astrology. I don't fully believe in everything astrology has to say, but there are times when a lot of the stuff I see and hear and read lines up with things going on in my life. So in certain cases, I'm like, is that a funny coincidence? Or is that, just life happening? And sometimes, as Jeff Goldblum would say, life finds a way. And so I think there are certain things in life that have found a way to reach me and talk to me and speak to me in a way that Christianity couldn't. And I'm going to tell you guys kind of like a really funny coincidence. I literally just bought this book today. I was at Barnes & Noble and I picked it up. And on my way out of Barnes & Noble, I noticed an astrology book. And it was something like how astrology speaks about your personality, whatever. And I picked it up because I'm a Taurus, born on May 5th. And so I wanted to see what it said about me. And I'm going to read to you now what it said because I took a picture of the page and I thought it was so funny. Like, what a coincidence. Here's if you can see it. This is the screenshot I took, or the picture I took of that book. And it gives me my color, my number, a plant, the best present, my love, character, all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to read to you what it says under life path. It says, you have a vague feeling of dissatisfaction, which goes back as far as you can remember, which is true. I don't tell a lot of people this and I don't talk about it often because it's not always at the forefront of my mind. But Robert can probably attest to the fact that I get sad. And there are days where I'm like, I'm just sad and I don't know why I'm sad, and it's not PMS and there's nothing physically wrong, but there are days when I'm sad and I feel hopeless, like, am I going to do this same thing forever? So that's the first part of that. The sentence after that reads, use this to change the things that are stuck in your life. So it says, studying Buddhism or another philosophy may help you deal with the melancholy side of your personality. And I'm going to try and show you guys this. It's right here. That's what it says. I know it's hard to see, but this is the section right here. Do you see that? It says study Buddhism. I know it's blurry, but it's there. But I just thought, what in the world? That, what are really the odds that I would just so happen to pick up this book on the way out of the store after buying a Buddhism book? And that's what it says under my life path, that I feel dissatisfaction and I should use this change to seek out other things, study Buddhism or other philosophies. And I just couldn't help but think, wow. And I don't think that's a God thing. I think that is a life thing. Life happens. I don't think God happens. I think life happens. And for me, that's easier to digest because with Christianity, I'm always thinking, what did I do wrong for God to put me through this? Why am I going through this? What is the purpose of this? If everything's a test in life, then what am I being tested for? Is this supposed to make me stronger because I don't feel stronger? But with Buddhism, it's like, how do I say it? The four, I don't know what they're called. The four main principles, or I forget the name. But basically, Buddhism is centered around the fact that we know suffering exists. And so if we know suffering exists, it's like, so there's suffering in the world, everybody suffers, but you can get through suffering through nirvana. And I just love that, because with Christianity, yeah, everybody suffers, and you seek out from God, you seek from God to pray, and for God to answer your prayers, and you pray and come together in your Christian community, and you get this feeling like, oh, come together as one, as a church family, to get through things, to get through hardships. But not with Buddhism. With Buddhism, I mean, you still come together to get through things, but it's not, you're not waiting around for answers from a God. It's just everybody suffers, and you're going to meditate, you're going to de-stress, you're going to focus on the here and now. And I just love that, because Christianity isn't about focusing on the here and now. It's about bringing more followers to Christ and loving your neighbors and doing that doing everything for other people, where I guess Buddhism could be seen as kind of like selfish, where you're more so trying to live for yourself and in this moment. But I don't mind it if it is, because with Buddhism, what I put into it, I can get back. If I'm going to meditate and de-stress, it's going to be beneficial to me, to my state of mind, to my mental health, because that's something I don't talk about with people. That's something my family doesn't talk about. We don't talk about mental health issues. And I've never said anything to my family. Like, I don't want to have a mental breakdown, but some days I feel like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through life? And with Buddhism, I just feel like there's a sense of peace, a peace with Buddhism, that you don't have to wait around for comfort, that you can comfort yourself. That I'm not, with Buddhism, I don't feel like I'm wondering, what did I do wrong? It's just, let me meditate, let me come within myself and just grant myself peace and try and calm myself. Because with Christianity, the only question I had was, what did I do wrong? Why do I have to go through this? And it was almost like a slap in the face with Christianity, when, for me, my biggest thing is I want to have a child. And everywhere I look, everyone's having kids. And I'll tell you, there's a girl, a young woman, a little younger than me, maybe like a year or two. A beautiful young woman, very sweet. We went to church together in school for just a little bit. But I had her on Instagram, but I recently just got rid of her, because I'm just not in a place for certain things, certain people, whatever. Not that she's not nice or anything, but it's a me thing. But she just recently found out that she's having twins. Like literally earlier this week, it was pictures that she's having twins. And I just had to like take her off my friends list, because I can't deal with that. Because the first thing I thought, like, everyone's like, oh, congratulations, and writing her all this stuff. And for me, it was like a punch in the face. Like, here's another person that's having a kid and I can't have one. And it goes back to that, what did I do wrong? Why, God, am I the one thing I want everyone else seems to be getting, kind of thing. So it's just not, Christianity is not fulfilling what I need for my life. And I think I said in the beginning of this video, like, I know that may be disappointing to family and friends, but it's just how I feel. And I can't go on living like I'm a Christian and that I believe in God, when I think it's played its role in my life. It's come to an end. And, never say never. Maybe one day I might believe in God again, but at this point in my life, I just don't. And I think for me, studying Buddhism and following the ways of the Buddha are going to be the way to go for me. And I don't know where it'll take me, but I just want peace. I just want peace in my life, and that's all I can ask for. So I will see you guys, I guess, in the next video.